What's happening? Today, I wanted to dive into my self narrative. 2 weeks ago, we sort of made that video where it was sort of, who am I? And sort of like some of the more like first greeting, sort of silly, jokey answers and sort of just bits and bobs on the unserious part of my life. But today I wanted to go into the more serious self narrative exploration side and sort of how I'm me really at the core. I am a happy lad. I am easygoing. I don't take myself too seriously, and I just try and enjoy life really. And I don't stress about the things that I can't control. I try and come across as sort of welcoming and kind, ensuring that there's comfortability when someone feels the the possibility to approach me and start a conversation with me. One of my life goals is to sort of, I've said many times, it's to build lifelong relationships with people, not just local to me, but all over the world, where I can sort of understand sort of different ways of thinking, ways of reasoning, culture shifts, and just how people have found happiness in their lives that I can sort of take into my own. I'm also a person that takes action of their life. I don't really believe in waiting for change to happen unless I'm going to be the one to make that change. I see opportunities and I take control of my life and I go all in with what I want to do. I don't wait around for anyone else. And if people are sort of like to and fro on what's happening, I'll just say yes or no, really. I'll either go, yeah, I'm in, or hang on, this is taking too long here and it's not going to be finalised for the time that I'm willing to wait to sort of get something sorted. I also have a balance in my life between solitude and social connection. And what I mean by that is I love being around people. I like meeting new faces. I like sharing my life experiences whilst listening to others. At the same time, I value solitude, the ability to get through life on my own. And that's a skill where, in the midst of this sort of loneliness epidemic that we're sort of in at the moment, heavily from what I've heard in Japan, it's serious. And in a few years, we're going to see it more and more. We're going to see it more and more as people grow up, and there's a heavy loneliness epidemic. And I hope that it can change, but the way that the world's going, I can't see it happening. And just hopefully, I don't stay alone in terms of romantically, but with my family, I still got all them, so it's fine. Really, don't need to be thinking that far ahead right now. But I've taught myself new ways of thinking, writing, exploring ideas on my own. And many of my dreams that I want to do are solo ventures. Places I want to see, places I want to go, places I want to find out about. I want to go on my own because I think it's just like the most natural course of life where I'll go on my own. But when I'm there, hopefully, I'll then meet new people. 1,000,000%, one of the best things you can do is travel in a pair like I did, and it was great because you've always got that comfort of someone that you know there, and then there's always that thing where like I'm not going to be alone because my friend's there. But what I will say, if you go alone, you have to step out your comfort zone to make conversation with other people, and these people could have a greater impact on your trip than if you went on your own or if you went with someone that you knew. So these solo ventures I want to do, 1,000,000% I want to go on my own, but I want to meet people there. But my goals in life, on the other side of this, so not my dreams, my goals, they're tied to group scenarios, teamwork, and shared experiences where I want to do them with other people because I think they'll be more meaningful. I'm also currently under a constant growth trajectory. And at the turn of the year, I started to absorb more content that was more lifestyle based rather than sort of when I was growing up, heavily gaming, heavily travel. And travel's still a massive content pool of what I watch. But a lot of things I still enjoy now, like I quite enjoy like food videos. Like it's just one of my little comfort videos to watch. Like some people just eating food. But I started watching this sort of lifestyle content where people just talk into their camera about life, and it was something that I wanted to do for years, but I'd never really put myself out there to sort of absorb that kind of content to see this is how it's not exactly how it's done, but what other people are thinking and what I can actually talk about that isn't the same. Because by all means, talking to your phone and say what you think about the world, but with this channel, I've sort of tried to approach it with conversations that have yet to be touched, and just sort of a new question every time where people go, actually, I've never seen sort of content about this thing, and I want to dive deeper into this content, hopefully in my comment section, or just subscribing to my channel as a whole and seeing like next time there might be another video that really might tickle my fancy of sort of how I see the world. I can take it all in through these videos that I'm watching, these books, but I still struggle to open up IRL with people, and even just my friends, and my family. But that's like we're all trying to learn, because there's always tomorrow where we can always then learn something new. And a lot of these creators I've watched, two of the top ones I've watched the Zerky Show. He's one of the top inspirations. I started watching him just after the turn of the year and around start of January, and half of his content I would say is sort of like romance content and people's social skills, and a lot of them are just sort of like untapped questions of our own selves, and that it really inspired me to start just creating, because I felt like I could either take some points of what he said and go further, or just sort of flip it on its head completely and come from a different angle. But it really inspired me, and I really enjoyed that content. Also, I think it's The Life of Ritza, and she's one of I believe, the fastest growing creators in the space over the last few years of sort of self-help, well-being, and I thought just some of her videos were just really inspiring, and how one of the videos she did, I'm going to sort of make my own twist on that, and it's the art of showing up, and it's probably the best video that I've watched this year, where I really watched it, and it sort of got us on my emotions. It sort of made me smile. It made me feel a bit of hope in the world, and it was just like well made video, where it's like there's a lot of effort put into this video to put across a message of just the title. We could have got it from the title, but watching the video, it really lifted the level of, yeah, we really do need to show up, as in that concept of that video. And then, yeah, it really inspired me to hopefully make a video about that in the future. There's also the idea of love and fate with me, and I believe in love, and I also believe that I'll find the one. And although I haven't yet, hopefully in the future I will. Love isn't just about romance for me though either. It's about having a deep, meaningful connection with people. And like I said, this can happen at any point. You can meet anyone new tomorrow, and you could just click. Your personalities could click, and you could sort of play off each other and just sort of realize like we're quite similar here. And you build that connection with someone, and then they just become your friend. And I had it at uni where like I was put into a scenario where I was forced into a house with people. I didn't get to pick them off their name. I didn't get to go with people that I'd known from my hometown. But when you put yourself out there and you just sort of are surrounded by people that where you're with them so often, you just get on. You just build up that relationship with one another, and they might get under your skin sometimes, but with just sort of being present all the time and putting in the effort to sort of spend time with one another, You build that up with people. I also have this fascination, like I said earlier, with like wanting to understand more cultures and people with people I meet. I'm fascinated by the philosophies and different cultures around the world. How different cultures sort of approach success, failure, and life's decisions. And I think philosophy it plays a massive role in my life, where how I view decisions, how I view my own personal struggles, how I view world struggles, and my growth. And I believe taking in these lessons from different ways of thinking, different cultures, I can hopefully then apply them to my own life and make a change for the better and operate differently, where I come across as the best version of myself. I also wanted to approach my own self narrative in the point of how sports comes into my life, because it's heavily in my life sport. And last night, at first, I just had it down as football, but I was like, no, actually, I'm enjoying more sports, and they all have the same message of competition. Sport is the source of joy in our lives, like when your football team wins, when your favourite F1 driver wins, when your favourite darts player wins the tournament, whenever that is. And you a lot of the time you pick a favourite to win. And sport is the source of joy, but it's also the source of frustration, where it taught me the message of you can't always win. And that is the quote of the day today. You can't always win, because losses lead to change for the better. When you lose, you go straight back into the mode of, we're not going to lose next time. What can we change to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And straight away, it sparks a positive upturn in, that is not happening again. We lost this time. We can't always win, but we're not going to lose again. Small win, yes, but we're not going to lose. In a competitive environment, resilience is key. How we turn that on its head to do better, and how these setbacks of not winning provide the stepping stone for success. And sport and the competitive nature of it's the teacher of life, where it gives us these messages of, whilst we want to be at the top all the time, a lot of the time we are either not, or we have to build our way up to get to where we want to be. And it all relates back to how we operate. How, if we want to get to the top, we have to work for it. And we can't just sort of expect to win if we've not put that effort in. I also just live life, as I said. I try to enjoy life. But life for me, it's not about achievement. Life's about the moments, the people, and the personal development that I make in myself, and how I can make moments with people on my own in new places. How I can make these moments count, and how I can embrace the highs and the lows of life, so that whilst I might be at a low point, I can always then be thinking, why am I here? What can I do to get out of this low? And what can I do to stay out of this low, to sort of stay at the peak of how I want to operate daily with people in solitude? So we're building this self narrative of ourselves. But some people might be going, win, 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 achieve, achieve, achieve. But we've got to look at the other side, where we need to learn to be on our own. We need to learn to find happiness within. We need to know that we can always grow quietly in the background without letting people know that we're doing it. We can just do it, we grow. We can love in different ways. We can take philosophies from other people, other cultures. We can use the things we enjoy to understand messages of, I can do this. But whilst also embracing the highs and the lows, to properly understand that the self-narrative we're building is ourself. And it doesn't matter what other people are doing, because when we understand all these points, we'll be able to understand and operate at the highest level.